Alright, Celia, not gonna lie, this is gonna sting.
Well, here we go again. Hello there and welcome to part 2 of me trying to make rings inspired by the character Celia from the Fennah universe. It was about time I do this. Celia called a couple dozen times already, she wants her body parts back, and I have a feeling I shouldn't anger her, so let's get this going. In the last part I tried marbling the castings by injecting the 2 highlight colors into the base using a pipette. That didn't go too well, as the gold proved just too dense, and decided to enjoy life at the bottom of the mold, while the white felt the need to take its place and became a little too mixed in and predominant. Of course, entirely the pigment's fault, nothing to do with me being an amateur. Turning and sanding revealed these rings that were really good looking, but to fully resemble Celia, they were missing a key ingredient. Don't get me wrong, I don't see this as a failure. I just need to try again and change plans a little bit. Let's see. I need something that's golden, that makes a random enough pattern, and that stays in place during casting. Oh, right. Turns out the answer was right there. On my finger. The whole time. There is a technique I had already tried and tested, just with different colors. Let me explain. No, this isn't Winifred's mane. I may be dim, but I'm not suicidal. These are curly chips of a special aluminum bronze alloy. What makes it so special, you ask? Well, you see, your box standard brass is a simple mixture of copper and zinc. When you machine it in the lathe, it practically disintegrates into a hailstorm of tiny hot metal splinters that get everywhere. And I mean everywhere. This alloy, on the other hand, is a lot tougher than brass. It's got a whole bunch of other stuff in it like nickel and manganese and I'd have to look it up right now, but you get the idea. And as you can see, when you turn it, it makes longer chips. Chips that I can then break up and put into the mold to make the golden highlights resembling the multitude of golden metal bits that Celia likes to stab through her flesh. And ironically, despite breaking apart easily, these chips are sharp as razors. Imagine them getting caught in the lathe chuck, whipping around and hitting you. Been there. Not pleasant. To speed this video up a bit, I've mixed the 2 batches of resin off camera, so let's just take the blue base color and pour it right in. Carefully, of course, we don't want to introduce any more air into the casting. Alright, so far so good, we got the gold and the blue. Now we just need the white stripes. Instead of using a pipette, I've got a syringe with a metal tube this time to inject the resin with. That gives me more control over the amount, and also provides more resistance in order to coerce my way past all these chips. Here I go, making a mess again. Good thing my father gave me the silicone mat, where any spillage can just be wiped or peeled off later. Adding a few more chips for good measure, and thusly, the casting is ready for curing. Here's where another valuable asset comes into play. The pressure bomb. Pot. Pressure pot. Like the vacuum chamber, its purpose is to get rid of any air bubbles, only with positive instead of negative pressure. If there are any bubbles left in this casting, the 65 psi I'm gonna put into this vessel, or 4.5 bars in superior units, are going to squish them together so much that they'll become practically invisible. The pot will stay under pressure for the whole time it takes the resin to cure. In the last part I gave it 3 days. That's enough for when you're working with a homogeneous casting. But this one's got metal in it now, which is way harder than resin. Duh! And I want this piece to be as tough as possible, so it doesn't chip or deform when the chisel hits the tiny bits of metal. So I won't be taking any chances and give this the full 7 days, as per directions. Yeah, that looks promising. Nothing has sunken down, everything seems to be distributed nicely. This one's gonna be a success. I can feel it. I'll end the voiceover right here. You already know what comes next. Turning, sanding, and presentation don't need a lot of explaining. We will be meeting again, as this is probably not the last character I'll be making rings of. Until then, enjoy!
Sold by the flowers of the sea.